Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning into episode 51 of the Frontline Black News. My apologies for last night. We were having some technical difficulties, so we're doing the show now from last night when we normally do the show. So I'm your host, Che and Kruma. I'm joined by my other host, Lady Che, and we'll be discussing several things tonight. We should be having other guests join us as well. Shabaka Sankori, Shabaka's Black Experience Enhancer, which I'm the co-host of, and Christian Mata should be joining us shortly. Tonight we will be discussing, excuse me, not tonight. I'm so used to it being at night. This afternoon we will be discussing Tangibles 2022. The killers of Ahmaud Arbery found guilty of hate crime in federal court. Breanna Taylor's killers on trial. Trial delayed again for the killer of Atatiana Jefferson. FedEx worker in Mississippi shot. Um, Kaepernick launches new initiative. California runs reparations bill. Lee Merritt running for Attorney General of Texas. Biden picks Black Supreme Court Justice. Black woman Supreme Court Justice, and Unhoused Neighbor News and Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps. So I will start us off with the tangibles. This is the decade of tangibles. This whole decade, we're going to be demanding tangibles for our votes. So any politician that is seeking your vote, demand something tangible for your vote. And I'm just going to put up what that all comes from and where that stems from. Tangibles 2020. In 2020, a brother by the name of Tariq Nasheed came up with the hashtag Tangibles 2020. We ran with it. And for the past 2 years, it's been Tangibles 2021 and Tangibles 2022. So I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see it. And what this is Black family. The 2020 presidential elections are coming up, and foundational Black Americans are going to reject the 50-year malign neglect policy that has been implemented by the political system. This malign neglect policy mandates that Black Americans should be ignored and only mentioned in vague and non-specific terms, lumping foundational Black Americans into groups with minorities, immigrants, people of color, etc., has only hindered the progress of Black Americans as a group while providing tangible benefits for other groups. In this election cycle, Black Americans are going to insist that our needs are specifically met by politicians who are seeking our vote. Foundational Black Americans want tangible benefits, specifically for us. We do not want trickle-down, secondary benefits that are provided for every group. Every group has not been systematically marginalized and disenfranchised in every area of society as foundational Black Americans. So we refuse to be lumped in with groups that often assist in the exploitation and disenfranchisement of Black Americans. So politicians must offer tangibles, specifically to foundational Black Americans, or we simply will not vote for them. Make sure to spread this message far and wide on social media using the hashtag Tangibles2020. So now, Black family, is the year 2022, and we're still demanding our damn tangibles. So any politician, including myself, who is seeking your vote, demand something tangible for your vote. Stop just voting just to be voting, Black family. Stop just voting because the white-owned media told you to go out and vote. Vote because you have an agenda and you have a purpose and a cause in voting, and that is to get something for your votes. Quid pro. If I give you my vote, I demand something in return. Every other group understands this, but Black Americans. So, Black family, we're going to continue to push the Tangibles 2022. This is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. And when we say tangibles, we're talking about reparations in the form of $100 trillion for past, present, and future atrocities that have been brought against our people and continue to be brought against our people. So I don't care if we're at war with Ukraine or Russia or whatever the hell, they need to cut the damn check. Cut the check. Reparations now. We're not waiting any longer. Cut the check. So that's what Tangibles 2022. Now it's Tangibles 2022, but that's what Tangibles 2020 was all about. So now, Black family, we're gonna continue to stress this. The midterms are coming up, and these politicians, these Democrats, they want us to go out and vote. Vote for what, Black family? If we're not getting anything tangible for our vote, what is the point in voting? Thoughts, Lady Che.
Just one second. I agree. I agree.
Greetings, Shabaka.
I agree. I stand like with the black media that say, you're not gonna get us up in your fucking in this Russian war, in this bullshit ass politics. It's pretty much that it. There's nothing tangible. There's not even a reason to vote. They ain't giving out what we need, what you need, what we need, basically. What we've been asking for, what what is fucking required. It's just been a bunch of bullshit. And so no, I'm holding my motherfucking vote. Hold your vote. Hold your vote. Hold your fucking vote. There's no reason. And if you haven't noticed, we're at war. The war is fucking present. And now this motherfucker done decided to go ahead and fuck with Russia too and all their bullshit. And it ain't even our. It's not that it's not our fight. It affects us. And so now we got to protect ourselves. I have a lot of thoughts on it. But right now I'm just gonna say, hold your motherfucking vote till you have something tangible. Tangible means fucking reparations. Tangible means everything that's been asked for in like the contract for Black America, fucking 10-point plan. I can name numbers of things that we've been asking for a long fucking time. So hold your goddamn vote. Don't vote. There's no reason to. They got all these buffer classes here to do the job. They think they can. Well, let's see them try. This fucking shit is failing. It doesn't matter if they got some fucking. If Biden decided he wanted to go ahead and nominate a bed wench.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that later.
Doesn't fucking matter. Hold your fucking vote. Hold your fucking vote. Go ahead.
All right. So our next topic is Ahmaud Arbery's killers are charged with a hate crime in federal court. So we've been saying all along that this was a hate crime. It was racially motivated. They killed that young black man because he was black, no other reason. And they try to use I'm white and I say so to justify it. And it didn't work. And now they're going to be spending the rest of their life in prison. So we're going to go into detail. There's an article from CNN, Fair Use YouTube. Put the disclaimer up. Fair use for content purposes and criticism and education and research. Jury in federal hate crimes trial of Ahmaud Arbery's killers excused after day one of deliberations. Interesting. After deliberating for a little more than 2.5 hours, The jury in the federal hate crimes trial of the three men convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery was excused for a day Monday. Deliberation will resume at 9 a.m. Tuesday on whether the men, so they already voted, they already decided that they're guilty of a hate crime. So actually, this article is kind of dated. Let me see if I can find a more recent article.
Yeah, they stuck in the sneak attack with the federal. Person was guilty, and then they went and got another federal guilty charge or guilty sentencing or guilty plea. Trying to pull the sneak attack, and they were found guilty there too.
Yeah, it's just gonna let me read this article. Let's see. This one is from the Washington Post, and it says the federal trial of Ahmaud Arbery's killers shows the limits of hate crime laws. These laws express the government's commitment to rooting out racism. Is the message getting through? Is the message getting through?
I don't know.
Justice for Ahmaud. Sorry for this advertisement. I don't know how to get this off. Okay, here we go. In criminal trials, it's normally defendants who face the highest stakes. But in recent federal hate crime prosecution of Ahmaud Arbery's killers, the three defendants have already been convicted of murder under Georgia state law. At stake in this trial was the public's confidence in the justice system's capacity to address racial violence, specifically the murder 2 years ago of an unarmed black man in broad daylight, widely described as a modern day lynching, because that's what it was. I'm trying to scroll down, but this computer is acting stupid. This article is really long. Okay. On Tuesday morning, the jury reached its verdict. Guilty on all counts. This outcome makes it tempting to assume that this case was a slam dunk for prosecutors, especially given how quickly the jury wrapped up its deliberations. But this verdict, representing the first federal hate crime conviction in Georgia's history, was not a foregone conclusion. And though it may provide some relief to Arbery's loved ones, this long-awaited conviction also offers a lesson in the inherent limits of our hate crime laws. To prevail on a hate crime charge, federal prosecutors needed to convince the 12 jurors beyond a reasonable doubt that the shooting of Arbery was not only a vicious murder, but a vicious murder fueled by racist animus. Whereas the prior state prosecution largely avoided mentioning race, the federal trial centered on it. And the move that federal prosecutors sought to make wasn't easy. They had to turn evidence that the defendants were racist into proof that they targeted Arbery because of his race. An admission of guilt is perhaps the most compelling way to prove subjective motive, but the judge rejected a plea deal amounted to an admission from Travis and Gregory McMichael that their crime was racially motivated. Still, the circumstantial evidence was very strong. Prosecutors introduced dozens of social media posts, text messages full of racist statements, derogatory language, and racial slurs. They included a text message from one of the defendants a few months before the shooting, commenting, "We used to walk around committing hate crimes all day." The prosecutor's strongest evidence, however, was that the defendants have spoken about a desire to kill Black people. An acquittal on these facts would have been devastating for the government and a further stain on our legal system. Since federal hate crime trials are exceedingly rare, a loss for the prosecution might also have been taken as a referendum on the efficacy of hate crime laws generally. And yet, while these outcomes were avoided, it's unclear that these convictions were an outright win. Instead, this case exposed some serious problems with the design of hate crime laws. So now I'm going to go into the history of hate crime laws. I don't want to read all this article because it's very long. I just think
it's all. I just think that. I mean, they're. So how much time are they going to give them? I mean, and where are they going to do that first 10?
That's what I want to get to.
Critical for them.
Yeah, that's what I want to get to. How much time they're going to get. To send their commandery message, hate crime prosecutions are supposed to result in more severe punishment. Between two crimes that are otherwise identical, one that is committed out of racial animus is to receive a harsher penalty. However, the more heinous the crime, the less likely a hate crime conviction will meaningfully increase the perpetrator's sentence beyond what they will already receive. This dynamic was clearly on display in the Arbery case. The federal convictions, which could result in maximum sentence of life in prison, will not materially change the defendant's punishment. Travis and Gregory McMichael are already ineligible for parole and will spend the rest of their lives in prison. The third defendant, William Bryan, is not eligible for parole. Oh my God. I'm trying to scroll down and it keeps going all the way to the bottom of the screen. Is not eligible for parole until age 82. Hate crimes are also intended. Huh? That's it?
Dead by then.
Yeah, they'll be dead by then. Hate crime laws are also intended to convey to victims that their families that they are valued and that acts of prejudice against them will not be tolerated. But if from the onset the victim or the victim's family feel unsupported by law enforcement, believing that their suffering isn't being taken seriously, a hate crime trial years later may not change that. Moreover, because prosecutors may consider but not be obligated to follow victims' wishes, even a timely prosecution may achieve a result that is unsatisfying to victims. Okay. I think that's the gist of it. They're just talking about hate crimes. Hate crimes. Finally, even a successful hate crime conviction can only do so much to demonstrate the government's commitment to racial equality. Hate crime laws are inherently limited by their reliance on a narrow idea of racism that focuses on individual bad actors, monsters driven by hate. This focus may obscure more pervasive and more subtle forms of racial bias. In the case of Arbery's murder and his family's struggle for justice, harms that reached well beyond the inherent actions of the three men who killed him. And that's a mirror of him. Damn, I'm gonna read all Oh, okay. That's the end of the article. Law enforcement's missteps in this case sparked outrage from the start. Body camera footage from the scene of the crime showed a responding officer reassuring Gregory McMichael that he wouldn't put Gregory's son, Travis, in handcuffs. The two state prosecutors originally in charge of the case eventually had to recuse themselves. The first had has been has since been indicted for shielding the defendants. The second initially argued that the defendants had acted legally in self-defense and under Georgia's citizen arrest laws. It took more than 2 months for any arrests to be made, and these arrests occurred only after video of the killing went viral and these arrests occurred only after the video of the killing went viral and prosecutors took to the streets. Or excuse me, protesters, yes, protesters took to the streets. Hate crime laws can't reach those who mishandled and delayed this case, let alone address the racial disparities that plague our criminal justice system more broadly. Yet in Yet in the fight for racial equality, systemic forms of bias warrant special scrutiny precisely because they are more widespread and less visible than egregious crimes of racial violence. So, in closing, Black family, the good news is that that Arbery's killers were convicted of a hate crime they obviously committed. An acquittal in this case would have been an intolerable failure of justice. But even these convictions, in their own way, raise hard questions about the value of hate crime laws. Okay, so that's the end of the article. And we just want to report to you that the killers of Ahmaud Arbery were charged with a hate crime in federal court. And according to the article, it's not going to add any more time to their already conviction of life in prison without the possibility of parole. And only one defendant is due for parole at age 82. Thoughts, Lady Che?
I mean, fucking burning hell. That's what you get. I'm just surprised they made it to trial.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So our next topic is...
I'm really surprised they made it to trial.
Atatiana, the killings of Breanna Taylor. So the next topic is Breanna Taylor's killer is on trial. So this article is from NPR. I'm going to share it real quick. Huh. Yes. Yes. Hmm. Yeah, no. Okay. So Breanna Taylor's killer is on trial now. So jury questioning. Right? It took what? 2 years?
Yeah, man. I mean, surely the family wants justice. I mean, Jesus.
Jury questioning to begin in case over botched police raid that killed Breanna Taylor. NPR, Associated Press. This is from February 1st of this year. Questioning of potential jurors begins Tuesday for the trial of a former Kentucky police officer involved in the botched raid that killed Breanna Taylor, a 26-year-old Louisville, or Louisville. I think they say Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
Louisville emergency medical technician. Oh, somebody's in the studio.
Oh yeah.
It is Chris Shimada. Hey, brother, glad you're able to join us.
Greetings.
Greetings. We are on the killer of Breanna Taylor is on trial.
We can't see you.
I can see you.
You're lucky we're live, guys. Thank you, brother.
Okay, so
Peace.
I was just reading this article from NPR that says the questioning of potential jurors begins Tuesday for the trial of former Kentucky police officer involved in a botched raid that killed Breanna Taylor, a 26-year-old Louisville emergency medical technician. Brett
Mm.
Hankinson is standing trial on 3 counts of warrant wanton wanton endangerment for allegedly firing wildly into Taylor's neighbor's apartments in March 2020. Taylor, a black woman, was shot multiple times during the raid. No drugs were found, and the warrant was later found to be flawed.
Mm-hmm.
No officers were charged for their role in causing Taylor's death, despite protests nationwide and many demonstrations demanding that the officers involved stand trial for murder that set the outcome apart from 2 other cases that put race relations in the national spotlight in 2020 with the killing of black people at the hands of white people, the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis in the custody of a police officer, and the Georgia shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man who was shot to death while being chased by 3 white men while out jogging through a neighborhood. The 3 white men who pursued Arbery. Somebody, you got background noise.
My bad.
The 3 white men who pursued Arbery were convicted of murder in November and given life prison sentences in early January last year. Former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of murder and manslaughter in state court in the videotaping killing of Floyd. In the Taylor case, Kentucky Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron determined that the officers fired into the woman's apartment in self-defense after her boyfriend, who was in the apartment with her, shot at them first. Cameron, who is black, did not give a grand jury considering the case the option of charging those officers in connection with Taylor's death, though he acknowledged that her death was heartbreaking. This is the killer. Brett Hankinson. Hankinson is the only officer facing any criminal charges in the incident. From the incident, if convicted, he faces 1 to 5 years in prison for each of the wanton endangerment counts. The process, which began last Friday, so this is back in January, is expected to take weeks. Potential jurors will be asked questions to determine if they can serve as fair and impartial jurors. The pool, which consists of Jefferson County residents, will be whittled down to a group that consists of 12 jurors and alternates. The trial is taking place in Louisville despite a request from Hankinson's attorney, who had asked Jefferson Circuit Judge Ann Bailey Smith to move the trial out of the city because he felt the publicity surrounding the case would make it hard to see the impartial jury. Ain't that something? Smith denied the request. Good. Hankinson has pleaded not guilty to the charges, bastard. Okay. What are your thoughts on this, Lady Che?
My thoughts is this, man. The family has waited a long fucking time for this shit. The nation has waited. It's about time, you know, that this happens. That this lady, she gets justice. Watch it be an all-white jury, like always, and watch the city go crazy, like always. You know, so I want to know why they didn't charge the officer. Look, if old boy shot at them for if he did allegedly, I mean they're saying that allegedly. I mean, where's the body cam footage for this shit? You know, I don't remember seeing any body cam footage.
Right.
Why isn't anybody asking for that? Like, where's the footage from that? Where's the shots fired before a dude went in there on a no-knock warrant and started, you know, just shooting up the crib? And why he shoot her multiple times?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why did he shoot her multiple times?
That was an execution. That was a state-sanctioned execution.
So, you know, by all means, we wish them to find them guilty. I don't want to see Crump's fucking bum ass over there. You know how he gotta rack up their airline points, whatever the fuck he's doing. Mr. Media Attention. I don't want to see his ass anywhere near that shit.
Right.
But other than that, you know, I think that it's like far beyond time that she gets she gets her justice, and pray that, you know, obviously that this fool is found guilty. They're wrong. They wronged her. They killed her. They shouldn't have had a no-knock warrant. What constituted a no-knock warrant for this one dude? You know what I mean?
Right.
What was he doing that was so fucking critical they needed a no-knock warrant for? What was the other dude doing that they needed a no-knock warrant for? Old boy, when they caught the cousin on the couch sleeping and they shot him up.
Well, that was a mirror lock. Yeah.
What was going on with that?
Yeah, we touched on that on a previous show. Yeah.
Just like the police, the warrants need to be shut down and abolished. Why you want to pull a sneak attack in the first place? Every time a no-knock warrant is executed, motherfuckers die. Every single fucking time. We had a no-knock warrant here in Colorado 3 years ago, and dude died. Died for defending his house.
Yep.
Well, you know, if you come in my crib, I'm gonna try to shoot you too. Especially if I don't know you're coming in my house.
Yeah, I know that dude too.
You know what I mean? And in the mirror lock case, cuz was sleeping on the couch, he was resting, and he got fucking 3 motherfucking white men traipsing in his crib. And yeah, so you know, he want to protect himself. He's under a motherfucking blanket, for God's sakes, sleeping. That's the first thing I would do. I mean, any natural person who's resting is going to fucking grab for the weapon beside their bed or wherever they're resting just to keep themselves safe, because you never fucking know. It could be some motherfucker in your own crib, your own family member trying to bump you off in the middle of the night.
Yep.
You know, how many cases have we seen where families sleeping? I look at the fucking what is it called? Mendoza case.
The Mendoza.
The brothers that killed the parents.
Oh yeah.
Menendez.
Thank you, Christian Mata.
The Mendez killers. You know what I mean? But
no problem.
brothers and sisters, dude. Just the other day, a motherfucker police officers got called because they thought some domestic violence scene was happening. Then rolling past the house, find this white man killing his girlfriend. His girlfriend, he was cutting her head off in her apartment.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? And that was his girlfriend. Like, come on now. And it was a sister too. That was fucking crazy right there. So, our world is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it
She
is.
didn't have no way to protect herself, and even if she could, that was a man, and apparently he had other plans in mind for that lady. So our world is fucking crazy. Sometimes our own house isn't safe. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have dysfunctional relationships, and you look at the person next to you, and you're just like, you know what I mean? We used to tell her. I had my brother, rest in peace. I had my brother tell me about his sister. His sister was in an abusive relationship, right? And dude used to hit her in the face all the time. So my brother said, "Hey man, when he sleep, go get a cast iron pan. Bow, hit him in the face. You wake up, you go back to sleep, act like you're sleeping.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Until he get the point to stop putting his hands on you. They could be in our own house, and if we gotta worry about that shit in our own crib, now we gotta worry about the motherfucking police just keep knocking on doors. No knocking, just open the door with a fucking key." He opened the door in the mirror locks case. He opened the door with a key and came in and just bucked on over it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like Breanna Taylor, she deserves justice.
Yes.
And she deserves justice in the way of, like, an eye for an eye. Why did you do that? You're like, I don't care what anybody says. At times like this, we can't rely on the prison system. You got motherfuckers in there that beat women, kill children, rape women and children, do all kinds of heinous crimes, and they're just walking around in Gen Pop eating fucking top ramen.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
sense. Right. Look at the motherfuckers that killed Ahmaud Arbery. They're gonna be kicking it in cushy ass motherfucking jail, and that shouldn't even be possible. It shouldn't be possible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You got motherfuckers that actively lynched the brother. 3 of them, and then the dude with the FedEx case. 2 motherfuckers chased down this brother.
That's coming up. We're gonna be talking about that shortly.
Where's our justice?
Thoughts, Christian Mata, on the Breanna Taylor case?
I know there's a documentary movie that probably a lot of people don't know about her life that just came out like last year, I think it was. I mean, good luck trying to find it because I know it's on Netflix, I believe, which is trying to pick stuff, but then I kind of lost the video. It was kind of sad, because the mom is talking about her daughter and the justice that needs to be served, and it's kind of funny they swept that under the rug. Like, I never forgot about it, but I didn't forget about the fact that the cops didn't get charged in this case. And this movie documentary about her life, I can't think of the name of it right now, but I know it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it was in the movie theaters. Actually, I think it was on Paramount. And it was just talking about her life. But the thing about it is like, you got cops coming into a place unwanted, shooting, killing somebody. Seems like to me like some raid, what I'm saying? Just them just having intentions of just killing somebody black, even though they were trying to come for the supposedly boyfriend who was supposedly a criminal. And everybody know about that act where the sheriffs, went looking for criminals for black people, because they was going against the white supremacy and everything like that. I forgot the name of that act because they were like slave raiders. But there's actually an act about that they passed to make them sheriffs and police, where they are today because they were slave raiders and stuff, because you would go against the white people's agenda they would send out to.
Mandatory.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That act that people really failed not to really look at, because I mean, honestly, really didn't need no police force or anything like that. You know, it was just the police was invented because of the fact that we would go against what we are going to go against.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of sad that this sister lost her life like that, you know, and they swept Breanna Taylor under the rug because for a minute I had forgot her name because they just swept it under the rug. I was like, man, I knew about George Floyd and all the other ones that they talked about, but I was like, man, what about the black girl that got killed? And I couldn't think of her name, but I remembered the movie, you know, and I was like, that's kind of crazy that you just sweep this innocent black girl under there, you know, and I'm not gonna say black girl, I'm gonna say actually a queen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That just deserve to live and stuff like that. But I mean, social justice is gonna make a turn for itself, and pretty soon people gonna start putting acts into their own hands, you know, and that's one of the things the Black Panthers taught, you know, and especially in our communities. You know, I was actually trying to arrange some stuff in my building on that, but I feel like there's too many racist people in here undercoverly. So I got to go do it a different way. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has that Happy Meal smile, you know, but they short of a French fry. So, you know, you can't really depend on that meal too much because, you know, it's going to end up being poison and kill you anyways. So you got to go about doing things in a different way. So it's just, I don't know, it's sad. It's real sad, man. I mean, I've had family members as, you know, killed by police that never got served justice. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's crazy, you know. I've had my own little interacts with the police, you know, on different occasions, you know, and everything. I've been in situations where I was with certain family and friends, you know, that was doing their little drug thing and shit, and actually saved them from being caught up. But the interaction of that raid and how these cops, like Peterson for one, you know what I'm saying, disrespecting black females, bitch, shut up, I'm the DPD, you know who I am, you know, like talking to, you know what I'm saying, like, even though I was, handcuffed and wired. What's that?
I'm just listening.
Oh yeah, just handcuffed in wire cuffs and stuff like that, you know, not really, you know, affiliated with none of the shit, but it's just crazy how I'm looking at these police officers, as they call themselves, peace officers, which they're not, you know, disrespecting this black females, like calling them bitches and shit. Like, really? I was like, would you call a white girl a bitch? No. You know, I mean, that shit stuck in my head, and that happened. Man, my son was just about to be born. You know what I'm saying? My son's mother was pregnant with my son when this happened, but it's like back in, like, I'm gonna say 97. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's just crazy that how they disrespect, man, our community, because a lot of people, you know, even though what the situation was, even though they hit the wrong house, you see what I'm saying? They was looking for somebody, they hit the wrong house, you know what I'm saying? Here I am with fucking 9mm pointed at my face, you know what I'm saying? And telling me to get down on the ground and shit. Yeah. You know, man, it was like, you know, you know, I'm like, hey, look, man. I was like, I don't know what y'all trying to do, man. Y'all need me. Oh, shut the fuck up. You hanging out with this people, you know, just fucked up shit. Cops, man, I don't know, man. I done had situations, especially on the east side, where cops drive through alleys. Get your ass out the way. I told them, fuck you. You get your ass out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, back in the 90s and 80s, there was a cop named O'Shea, I'm pretty sure. And if anybody grew up on the east side, know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Was a fucked up racist cop. He was on the gang unit. He was the Pac-Man of our time. You know what I'm saying? And he would try to get out and fight the gang members, you know, especially the Crips. You know what I'm saying? He would try to get out and bang with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, really? You know? And then when I seen colors and seen the Pac-Man, I said, oh, well, shit, we had our own Pac-Man growing up in the East Side. So the point I'm trying to make is that cops do what cops do, you know, and it's fucked up that raid happened the way it did because, you know, I've been in situations where they've hit the wrong house and tore it up and shit like that. My homeboys, and they left their badge numbers and shit. But I'm like, but dude, what if you was in there like Breanna Taylor? Now that I think about it, you would have been shot. You would have been killed. And they would have just swept it under the rug. So, I mean, when is enough going to be enough with all this bullshit?
No.
That's pretty much all I got to say on that.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move us to our next topic. It's a similar topic, and it is the killer of Atatiana Jefferson is on trial now. Prosecutors hope to move Aaron Dean murder trial up to 2 months. Hearing. Continuance granted earlier this month delayed the start of the trial by 4 months. Prosecutors want the case moved from May to March. This is him right here. It's the bastard that killed Atatiana Jefferson in Fort Worth, Texas. No decision has been made Friday after prosecutors waiting to begin the trial for Aaron Dean, a former Fort Worth police officer charged in the murder of Atatiana Jefferson, asked for the trial date to be moved up to March. A hearing on the motion was held in Tarrant County on Friday, but the judge made no decision. Fort Worth police officer Aaron Dean was charged with murder after shooting 28-year-old Atatiana Jefferson through the window in her home while responding to an open structure call in October 2019. 2 days after the shooting, Dean resigned from the department. He was later charged with murder and released on a $200,000 bond. During the pretrial motions in December 29th, 7th District Court Judge David Hagerman granted a request from defense attorneys to reset the start date from January 10th to May 16th after they say 2 essential witnesses were unavailable in January. Prosecutors are objecting to the 4-month delay and are now asking that the trial be moved to March. Defense attorneys on Friday said their witnesses were also not available in March. In a petition filed January 12th, prosecutors said the 4-month continuance granted by this court exceeds that which was required by defendant's motion for continuance or unduly delays justice. Jury selection is currently scheduled for May 9th, with the trial scheduled to start 7 days later on May 16th. Prosecutors asked Friday that voir dire be moved to March 14th and the trial to begin on March 21st. The trial date had originally been set for November 29, 2021, but Dean's defense team said then that they wouldn't be ready for it, and the trial was pushed into January. It was moved again due to witness schedules. Defense attorneys for Dean have also filed a motion to request a change of venue for the trial. Defense attorneys have asked that the trial be moved to Tarrant County, arguing Dean cannot receive a fair trial due to pretrial publicity. That is bullshit. They want to move it out of Tarrant County to another county, and they're arguing that Dean cannot receive a fair trial due to pretrial publicity. They,
like in the other case.
yeah, there was no ruling Friday on the motion to move the trial or on the motion to change the date. So we'll keep y'all updated on what happens in regards to this case and several other cases that we have went over on Frontline Black News. Thoughts from Lady Che and Christian Mata.
I just think it's another form of bullshit, like in the last two things that we just read.
Yeah.
You know, so fuck them, try them wherever, and find the motherfuckers guilty. Simple.
Right. There needs to be justice served for Atatiana Jefferson, just like there needs to be justice served for Breanna Taylor. And the list goes on and on and on. What's your thoughts, Christian Mata?
He looked like a killer.
Christian Mata, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I was trying to hit it off mute. So hey, like, you know, it's funny that when you look into a person's eyes, you can see the killer in them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you can see this book that I have. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to put it on there so people could see, but it's kind of funny because it's called Sanpaku, Sanpaku, Sanpaku,
Put the book up.
And what it is it deals. Let me see. And let me see, right there. There it is. I just gotta. You see those eyes? Hold on.
It's hard
to find it. Yeah, it's hard to see, but it's basically I can screenshot it and send it to both of you guys.
Okay.
But what it is basically they describe that when a person is like half dead.
The other way.
You know, like when we die, you know what I'm saying? Your eyes roll back in your head. But according to like a lot of white people and presidents, their eye goes to the top of their eyelid instead of their eyelid being like focused. Like you have like the first eyeball touches your eye on the eyelid of the top and the bottom. But with white folks, it kind of goes back up. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like you can't, because it looks like the way they put it is they say when you die, your eyes roll back in your head as a certain muscle relax. If you are partially dead but still running around, this simply process begins that your eyes begin to roll back in their sockets. And most people, this condition manifests to the viewer as three whites, because you'll see three whites of corner in their eye. When you look at white people's eyes, man, and you look and you see that shit, you know, even some of our own people have that. It's because of unconditioning, because they don't have the balance that they need as a normal eye would have. So they're like what they call walking dead. They said even, I believe Jeffrey Dahmer had it. I believe President, shit, man, there was a lot of white presidents that had that shit. And it's saying that they're like the walking dead, you know what I'm saying? It's because they don't have this same, like they have a soul, but they have no spirit. You know what I'm saying? Just like Bobby Hemmett hit on one of the videos I had posted, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of funny. I had to redo my whole Facebook page for the simple fact is because these half dead ass motherfucking creatures, you know, these Aseles is what they really are called. They sit up there, they want to push all these little dumb, unbalanced, unadulterated, just whatever you want to call it, like laws on us.
Yeah.
You know, that has nothing to do with us. I was just reading just about, which is so funny, that this sister got killed in Dallas. I think they're called the Tasagi. There was the African Cherokee, which most of our people have Cherokee blood because it actually comes from West Africa. So the Trail of Tears was actually, they all settled, you know what I'm saying, with a treaty. And I have a book that I'm about to actually bring into my presence that talks about that too. How right outside Rusk County is right outside of Dallas, you know, and East Texas, you know what I'm saying? And a lot where my folks is from too. And it's like from Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, you know what I'm saying, all them areas, you know what I'm saying? This was like Cherokee, really, they weren't going by the name Cherokee. They was going by the name Tesila, you know. And when the white folks came up there and did those were just killing our people, trying to take that land, that's when the whole thing has started. And I got pictures of it too, and I'm gonna send it to you too, Jesse. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna post some of this stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So I think what it is like a revolt is good. A revolt is good. A revolt's good. We need to fucking revolt them.
We got to move to the next topic.
I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah, I know I talk too much. My bad. I'm just emotional about a lot of shit, man, and I've been having run-ins with a lot of fucked up people lately. So
it's all good.
Excuse me, viewers and everybody else.
All right.
Yeah.
What I was saying was, you can tell the eyes. Put it back. You can tell the eyes of the killer when they look at you. You know what I mean? And you can either know that they got it in them, or they you know, they've done it before by a certain type of energy that they exude coming through their eyes.
The way, and the way the world is going now, I'm telling you, man, the way things is going, our people's gonna get to the point where we're gonna sit up there and rise up. You know what I'm saying? White men hate us because women want us because they know they ain't shit and they can't go nowhere because they think the world is flat. You know what I'm saying? And they know that they genes ain't gonna go no fucking where. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm sorry, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm venting out. You know what I mean? I'm like, enough is enough, man. I'm like, it's time to make moves, like in chess.
Right.
Let's make that big move.
Right.
You know, I apologize for that. You know.
Next topic. We're kind of on a time schedule tonight, so I got to get us to our next topic, which is FedEx driver, black FedEx driver in Mississippi was shot and chased. This article from U.S. Today says lawyers say black FedEx driver was chased and shot at in Mississippi, drawing comparisons to Ahmaud Arbery's murder. So here we go again, black family. 2 white men were arrested this week after a black FedEx driver in Mississippi accused them of chasing and shooting at him as he tried to drop off a delivery, a case that has drawn comparisons to the 2020 killing of Ahmaud Arbery. Gregory Chase and his son Brandon Chase were arrested Tuesday in connection with the January 24th incident. The elder Case faces a charge of conspiracy, while Brandon Case is charged with shooting into a motor vehicle. The Montelero Gibson, 24, accused the men of pursuing him because he was black, and Gibson's attorneys are asking for the men to face federal hate crime charges. Black drivers are afraid to deliver packages in certain neighborhoods, Carlos E. Moore, one of Gibson's attorneys, said at a Thursday news conference, adding that many black delivery drivers across the country have shared similar experiences with him since the January 24th attack.
That's terrible.
This was racism, plain and simple. More at it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what I like to hear. Yeah. Gibson's lawyers said the case is similar to the 2020 murder of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man who was shot and killed after being chased by 3 white men through a Georgia subdivision. The 3 men, including the father and son, were sentenced to life in prison after being convicted of murder this year. The men were also charged with federal hate crimes. We all have a unique perspective. Oh, is this the same thing? Something different. We all have a unique perspective. Sign up for This Is America, a weekly take on the news. On the heels of the death of Ahmaud Arbery, we could have had the same situation here, said James Bryant, a California based attorney assisting with the case. Gibson said, hearing about the similarities in this case and Arbery's gave him the courage to speak publicly. At first, I was reluctant about speaking up, but then I realized it was bigger than me, he said at the news conference. It's by the grace of God that he's alive to tell a story, Moore said. So many like Ahmaud Arbery and others were not able to tell their stories. This is him right here.
Thank God it's not Crump.
Gibson, who arrived in the neighborhood in Brookhaven, Mississippi, about 55 miles south of Jackson, around 7 p.m., before he pulled into a driveway to drop off a package. As he began to exit the driveway in his van, Gibson saw a white pickup truck pull away from another house on the lot. Gibson said the truck driver tried to cut him off as he exited the driveway, causing Gibson to swerve around him. Then he said another man was standing in the street and pointing a gun at Gibson's vehicle. Gibson said that the man shot at his vehicle as he drove away, and the white pickup truck chased him for about 7 minutes until he got onto a nearby interstate highway. Gibson said the men fired 4 to 5 shots, but he found several more bullet holes in the van when he returned to the FedEx location. After the incident, Gibson called police and filed a report, he said. Gibson told reporters he had with FedEx uniform on at the time of the shooting. I think they meant to say he had a FedEx uniform on at the time of the shooting. While his van was rented by FedEx, he said it did not have a FedEx logo on it. He said he had no interaction with the man before the shooting, adding that it came out of nowhere. Moore said it is common for FedEx to rent vans that don't have the company's logo on it. We have not heard one time that a white person who works for FedEx was assaulted or chased like this, he said. This has everything to do with racism, not because the vehicle was unmarked. Moore said the suspects, Brandon Chase, 35, and his father, Gregory Chase, 58, turned themselves into police February 1st. The Mississippi Free Press and the Washington Post reported. The attorneys representing the cases, Terrell Stubbs for the father and Dan Kitchens for the son, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. When asked why the cases were arrested until more than a week after the incident, Brookhaven Police Department Chief Kenneth Collins told CNN that investigations take time. Ain't that a bitch?
That's
Collins
crazy.
did not respond to several U.S. Today requests for comment. Gibson's attorneys or lawyers say the cases were undercharged for their connection to the shooting, adding that they believe hate crime charges are warranted. Be a damn Skippy. Moore said he wants the cases to be immediately arrested for attempted murder as well. Yep, they need to be arrested for attempted murder. This is the brother that they shot at. The U.S. Department of Justice spokesperson confirmed to the Associated Press on Thursday that the department had received a request to review the case. Moore said FedEx's response to the incident was also less than optimal because Gibson's managers put him on the same route the next day. Wow. After 2 days, Gibson couldn't bear it, Moore said, and his managers sent him home without pay. But Moore acknowledged that FedEx is paying for Gibson's therapy. FedEx takes situations of this nature very seriously, and we are shocked by this criminal act against our team member. The Montario Gibson FedEx said in a statement to U.S. Today, the safety of our team members is our top priority, and we remain focused on his well-being. Gibson said he had been experiencing a lot of anxiety and trauma since the incident. Another thing that people don't take serious these days is the mental health of Black men in America, Gibson said. They think we're so strong because we've been through so much, but we hurt too. Gibson said he had never experienced racism to this extent before and said he is looking at everything way different now because I'm realizing there's still parts of Mississippi that is racist.
Well, no shit.
There's still parts of America is still
Everywhere is
racist.
racist.
The hell? The whole globe is racist.
Damn.
It's really scary that you could just die doing your job, he said. And that's the end of the article, y'all. So yeah, he got his racism wake up call. I'm glad to see that him and his family are calling it an act of racism though. Because a lot of times you'll hear stuff like, oh, this had nothing to do with color. So I'm glad to see that they're calling
It got a
it
lot to do with color.
an act of racism. So what are your thoughts, Lady Che?
How old is it, Cloud? Like 24.
Yeah, he's in his 20s.
I mean, he's a young man. Of course, he hasn't really experienced much, but
24.
brother, the whole world is motherfucking racist. Everything we look at is racist. Hell, some days we're called racist. Nobody is racist. Okay? So, I mean, you're in Mississippi.
Right.
What you think?
Right.
Surely the family, if somebody has told you that, put it back on the way it was. I like the way it was. Surely that everybody said that the whole world is racist. You know what I mean? You go to the store, you run into some fucking peckerwood trying to tell you some shit. You know what I mean? Even we look at each other some days with some old prejudicial shit. So I would just say that he's a young man, hasn't really had a chance to really experience life. But when you see two motherfucking white men chasing you and trying to kill you, yeah, that's a level of racism some of us have experienced, and the fact that your job put you on the same fucking route for 2 days after that, don't believe the hype. They don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give a fuck about that man, and he could have got killed.
Yep.
So are they in it with them? You know what I mean? Are they in it with the white supremacists? Because they could have got that they killed on the next day.
Yep.
If they were just the white man on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could, like, what I want to see is that when they want to happens to inmates, phone calls and shit. You know what I mean? Like, say for example, two white men are chasing a brother. They get picked up. Other white men in the area know and watching the news and shit. Like probably took over that job, trying to bump off the old boy. You know what I mean? Because he's roaming around freely on the same fucking route. So they put his life in danger again. 2 more days. You know what I mean? So what's this, that shit right there? He should file a lawsuit against FedEx too. They didn't keep him safe.
Mm-mm.
And just because you're paying for his mental health, yes, you know, it's almost a fact now that black people are not getting mental health treatment. For one, like we all three of us live in Colorado. Well, this is Denver, right? I live in Aurora. So what? It's just Denver. We all have MHCD, right? Mental
Same
health,
difference.
right? Okay. So it's a bunch of white people dealing with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They take our brain and enhance whatever psychological problems you got, shake it up like a motherfucking snow globe. You know what I mean? Like real shit like this. Like shit out. This is your brain. Normal, right? This is your brain. After MHCD gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wonder why you commit crimes.
Yeah.
Like Reagan, this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah. Motherfucking snow globe.
And this is what happens. You remember that campaign, you know, when they were trying to stick my bad, sis.
You're the one with the problem. And basically, whatever psychological diagnosis you have, when you go out and you fucking pull a Nat Turner and shit, it's gonna be because they continuously fucked you up. Me, case in point, the whole reason I finally got a where I can't broad ambiguous term, therapist of color, right? Okay, because in a whole not MHCD, because the therapist I had was white, and he said I cannot deal and relate to black issues.
Wow.
Yeah.
Problem.
It's the same one that was surprised I'd never been to prison.
The same motherfucker is surprised Jesse.
Wow. Really?
Went to jail one time. You know what I mean?
I've been to jail 3 times.
Career criminal here. Look it up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's that trait. But yeah, you know.
I can't deal with you just because you want to talk about colorism and shit like that. I can't. He said my privilege prevents me from having any dialogue of serious nature with you. You see what I'm saying? So and keep in mind, when motherfucker like me who grew up in the system is being programmed to go, well, not I deprogram myself, but up until like this year was programmed to go to mental health of Denver, mental health of Aurora, whatever, because I was in the system as a child, like a little girl. So these have been motherfucking white people who touched my brain, and whatever psychological problem they think I had probably made it worse. Just on the principal facts of being multiracial, right? And having issues growing up in the motherfucking system as a ward of the state. You see what I'm saying? And as an adult, now that you want to correct your life, they're unable to help you correct your life. So you got to go to people that are they look like you, of your color. You know what I mean? I'm looking at my brothers right here next to me. I'm a light over, but basically, we're on the stop process of your color to have to deal with you because you go through so much motherfucking trauma, injustice, racial injustice, always some racial shit. Depending on who you're with and when you're with them, or just being by yourself going into the jail system. You know, so they're not. They will say they're not equipped. That they can't because of privilege. They can't relate.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to talk about it. They don't know how to answer your questions when you're talking about, well, why does my brother or sister beef with me over the shade of my skin, and I'm just looking at them like, you know, they're fucking crazy some days, or why are we beefing about how much we hate white people? You know what I mean? And when you hear it come out of LA, don't let the shade deflect from the fucking message. Fuck you. Okay?
I'm a racist toward white people.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's a bad thing to be racist for us, right? But they can hate on us and kill us.
Mm.
But it's wrong for us to say, hey man, you know, the revolt is coming, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Kill God. We're wrong. We're wrong. Are we really wrong? Or is it that they're the fucked up ones trying to make us in a victimized up until we're no longer the victim and decide to do some shit about it? Then we're really a problem. It's just like they want to touch the brain and fuck us up more. And I think it's wrong. So in this case, I think that shit's fucked up. I really do. I don't think that. I think that we as black people, especially black men, how can we expect them? It's already one thing that they built America. Built America. They're constantly getting their shit stolen. They're always being mistreated. I don't even want to talk about the words that about mistreatment and humiliation and whatnot, right? But not only do the system of white supremacy mistreat them, then you got your own women mistreating you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they're never gonna get out of the fact of motherfuckers saying, you motherfuckers ain't shit. You can't take care of us. You can't provide for us. You can't keep us safe. I mean, at some point, the ladies gotta let that shit go. Start fresh. You know what I mean? There's never gonna be a time where they're not being humiliated, stolen from, degraded, belittled. I mean, there's got to be a time where, you know, you can't look at him and be like, oh man, that brother looks strong right there. He can handle it. And you think you're gonna punk him and shit. At some point, they're just going to snap. They can only take so much.
Right.
It's like you can't keep looking at the sister like she's strong and she can keep taking their fucking abuse. No. The motherfuckers have feelings. And people have fucking serious, deep-rooted motherfucking trauma that at some point it's going to be too much for them to accept.
Facts. You know what I
mean? And one day you're going to find yourself, fucking white supremacists going to find themselves chasing the wrong brother down the wrong street.
Yep, like that brother in Milwaukee that busted back at him.
Right. Like
shit, we need to do that. We need to keep on busting back at these crackers.
You're going to find yourselves chasing...
turn them into bloody soup.
Find yourselves chasing the wrong brother or shooting at the wrong brother or sister and watch yourself get clapped back. I mean, just look at that shit that happened in Miami. Motherfuckers bucking from the inside of the house at the team. You know what I mean? They were under attack for a minute. You know what I mean? Why? Because at some point, you're going to find yourself coming up on the wrong motherfucking house, on the wrong person, and you're just going to have to accept the motherfucking consequences that we're not taking it no more. We're not going to be your victims no more. Simple as that. You know what I mean? And fuck the consequences. We obviously know what kind of situation we're taking our lives in if we start bucking back at you or fighting back and, you know, why are you down there? And jet off down the street, go eat a fucking cheeseburger right after because they're tired. You know what I mean? Carry on, babe.
What's your thoughts, Christian Mata, about the FedEx driver in Mississippi getting shot at?
Well, the thing is that there's a difference between racist and prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
So a person that's prejudiced, meaning prejudge.
Mm-hmm.
So if I like to eat chicken, but I don't like steak, I'm going to prejudge something on why I don't want to eat that steak. I'm going to say, well, you know what? I need to eat this chicken because I don't want that steak. So I'm going to be prejudiced on that steak. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to eat. So you're prejudging something on your own conscience of what you want. A racist person is somebody that don't like themselves. So when they don't like themselves, they sit up there and they say, you know what? Since I don't like myself, I'm going to go ahead and hate themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to hate themselves. You know what I'm saying? I love myself. But a racist person hate themselves. So what they're going to do is they're going to use the prejudgment as a law and going to be a racist to sit up there to hate on crimes, to sit up there to hate and humiliate anybody that's not a person of themselves.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say it again. They're gonna hate it
Right.
that is not impersonated about themselves.
They have
That means they're gonna sit up there. They hate a race. There's never was racist because at the simple fact, a race always started from one kind. You see what I'm saying? That's what we got to look at our own people that fell from the stars, that got trapped into the heavens and stuff like that. Like the book I had text you, brother, you know what I'm saying, about
okay.
the Marian scrolls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of our people fell, and then a lot of our people lost their pigmentation, and not just into all the different little things. So these little pale, white, bloodless, they're not even white, because a free white person is something that's condensed with electricity that's bright that comes through melanin. They're not even white. They're pale. They're pale like, excuse me for saying this, but it's like pink pussy.
Mm.
You fuck pink pussy and you fuck the shit out of it and fuck you. You know what I'm saying? That's those pale folks. They bloodless. They have nothing to go with. They hate themselves.
Right. We're live.
They hate themselves. They hate themselves so much that they have to sit up there and make prejudgment laws to go with being a racist because they hate themselves. Because a tyrant is a slave turned inside out, just like Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
He went through his mama's side. His mom married a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a lot of like North African blood in him and stuff like that he didn't know. But he sat up there and was killing people and stuff like that. But it was just so you hate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you killed yourself, because you hated yourself. If you loved yourself, you would have knew how to unite people together through that. But he didn't, because he was a mixed baby. You see what I'm saying? That's how that genocide of rape babies came into, when the white man sat up there and started, pale man was sitting up there raping our true aqua moon queens and stuff like that. You know, trying to kill off the genes, which really wasn't doing shit, because everything runs through a woman. But then when you have the black man, you know what I'm saying, not saying necro, because that's what black means. So the melanated man and his penis, just like rest in power, Dr. Chris Weston was talking about the gun and the penis, how much it makes, was the thing to sit up there to change everything.
Genetic annihilation.
Exactly. So that's what happened when they were sitting up there and they was trying to kill us and stuff like that. So my point being is that it doesn't really matter, because a racist is somebody that just really don't like themselves. They are Sealies, just like Yorugu. In the book Yorugu, they are Sealies. You know what I'm saying? They have a soul with no spirit. A spirit you can connect with. We can connect with rocks. We can connect with the stars. We can connect and know where we go. A soul can only be sold untold. Which means I think I'm not going to rise from this. I think I'm going to stay right down here. Well, fuck you, bitches. That's why I said cracker soup. Because you put crackers into a bloody soup and you mix it up and you eat it, because you generate it right just like a shark. You see what I'm saying? So, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Because the earth is shifting. Anytime Neptune, Uranus is in position, there's always been your invasions. And the last time the invasion happened like this time was when Ukraine got invaded by Hitler. And he called us the rhino bastards. But he was the true bastard, because he didn't know himself. That's where you say a tyrant is a slave turned inside out.
Yeah, that makes,
you know, just like Colorado means color red. The Spanish that the Spanish people speak is not like my last name, Castilian, you know what I'm saying, was the real language of Spanish.
yeah.
The Spanish that people speak is not real Spanish, you know what I'm saying, because it came from actually one of the Spain, but it actually came from Africa. You see what I'm saying? Which means the color red, like the color of your skin, the color of reddish brown people. But because the white man who called himself a free white person, that's not a free white person, is actually a fucking, you know what I'm saying, a slave. You know what I'm saying? Because the white man who called himself a free white person, that's not a free white person, is actually a fucking, you know what I'm saying, a slave. You know what I'm saying? Because the white man who called himself a free white person, that's not a free white person, is actually a fucking
Urugu.
pale person. Yeah, he has bloodlines.
Mhm.
I had a white guy tell me one time, he said, man, I don't know why that they called y'all colored when we colored. And I
Yeah.
said, really? I said, why is that? He said, because when we cry, we turn blue. He said, when we get beat up, we turn black and blue. No, black and red. We
Yeah.
go through all these colors. He said, we're the real color people. I said, yeah, but you see, the thing about it is that I don't worry about you guys. I don't even worry about our own people because the way the universe is changing right now and the way the energy comes, it's going to hit people in a way where people's going to realize, I know what I was. I know I was a scribe. I used to write in my previous life.
Mhm.
I know about the successes and the people that I move with. So I never fuck with you goddamn pale ass vampires, you know what I'm saying? Blood sucking ass bitches. So it all goes on to that fact. So when people start realizing that a racist is somebody that hates themselves because a tyrant is a slave turned inside out. Tyrant is a slave turned inside out because he's turned inside out because he doesn't know his spirit, but he only knows his soul, and that's his physical. And that's why everything's getting ready to get destroyed.
So,
And I'm just going to leave it in that.
so the racists are the white folks that hate, or the pale folks that hate themselves. So they have instituted a whole system to exercise their prejudice against
Ex-
non-pale, non-white individuals.
yeah, like March 17th is going to be St. Patrick's Day. But what people don't realize is St. Patrick, I have to look in my book, but it's called the history. It's called the history of white people by Nell Ivory Painter,
Okay.
a black woman. And Patrick was actually black, and he was a slave,
Mhm.
and he was drove into what they called the Melbrook or the Meltrick, like kind of like how it was in what's the in Liberia, where the slaves was coming out, and going. But he
Yeah,
was a black slave,
the dungeons.
in Ireland. See what
Mm,
I'm saying? He was a black slave in Ireland.
okay.
And the green, of course, green is us.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm a pig. Got green. Oh, well, you pale motherfucker, you pinch me. I'm gonna punch you in your fucking face because you don't have green. You're wearing green.
Wow.
How many white folks? How many pale people y'all know that wear black a lot? How many white people wear green a lot? They wear all these colors because they don't have melanin. So they have to have something where the sun's gonna try to go through. But see, it's just burning they dumb, stupid punk, bitch, punk, fucking ass. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't even go through there.
Like I didn't get tan either. So one time I was sleeping on the sidewalk, but I don't get sunburned. I get sunburned.
No, but you have melanate blood in you. We already discussed
I feel
this.
so happy every time I'm outside with the sun and the sun just beaming on me. I don't change. I don't get any darker. Except one time, and I've been all over the states. And so like you would think that going to hot places like Texas, Arizona, Florida, I would have got a more darker tan, but only here in
Yeah.
Colorado. And I'm not from Colorado. I'm originally from Los Angeles, so there's a difference in heat versus here.
Yeah, the Los Angeles. Yeah.
So I got a suntan. I finally got a suntan like when I went out on the street and I was homeless, like living in the tents. Before, remember, babe, when they used to come and just snatch your blankets off of you?
Yep.
Right? Remember that time?
Yeah.
Like right there,
Yep.
like and I was laying on the
Yep.
sidewalk. I was saying when I first got on homeless, and that was the first time ever, my entire motherfucking life that I got a suntan. My brother used to tan, and he would come out like cardboard, like killer cardboard, right? When I tell you I'm in my peanut butter, I bet you know. I tell you I'm in my peanut butter. Right now I'm in my cinnamon toast crunch color, right? But during the summertime now, since that I don't know what happened, but it activated something because I couldn't get any darker. I can get lighter when I'm really sick, really sick. Then you know I'll get really really pale. But 90% of the time I'm like usually this shit. Unless it's summertime and I've been out in the light. Like it feels like the sun to us feels happy. You know what I mean? When you're on the sun, even under the moon, the light, the energy from the moon, you feel happy. You feel like no, I don't feel drained at all. Like when I'm outside at night and it's during like full moon time, I can feel the energy from the moon and I feel like invigorated because remember I used to go patrolling at night, right, babe?
Yeah.
Like from like anywhere between and 6 in the morning. I'm out at night and the sun, moon energy would just be beaming in me, and I'd be like driving and shit, listening to music, laughing, scoping out the area, peeping out shit, like that. Checking out stuff. And then in the sun, I don't feel I feel happier too. Happy, like super happy. You know what I mean? And then but it's only when I come indoors and we're under like the illuminated lights like this, right? Like right now, I feel fucking drained. And this light has been draining me since I got home. Because we've been doing on the show. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy, right?
Yeah, so check this out. But the thing about it is that when you talk about the moonlight, and then you was talking about, because I'm trying to go back on what you were saying, how the moonlight, you know what I'm saying, is like more like what most people would call like lesser dense. But what it is that us being people always like generated that energy, you know what I'm saying, from both of the sun and the moon, because both of them like they come into together. In Ukraine, the shit that's going on with Russia and Ukraine was a black country, just like Russia was.
Yeah.
Do you know that when Ukraine, the stuff that's going through with Ukraine, a lot of people look like yourself. You know what turned them light skinned is because of the cold and not the sun. Because what happens is from the moon and the pressures of the sun that's alternating through the earth, you know what I'm saying, is what made your skin, you know what I'm saying, adaptable to that environment. But that doesn't mean you're fucking pale. That means you're a free white person because you have blood in you. And because of the sun and the cold air, like people sit up there, it's like, man, it's like in Colorado, man, like I'm red as brown, but if it get cold, you kind of get that whiteness. No. You know what I'm saying? On your, which is like an ash, but it's not really an ash.
Yeah.
What it is it comes from the energy, because what you are within your spirit that comes through your soul, you start developing that presence. That's why like a lot of people say, man, that's a white girl right there with a big ass. I said, man, nigga, you stupid. Yeah. Because for the simple fact is she might be black, and just might because of the code, because you adapt to where you're at.
That explains our earlier paradigm, right, babe? Me and you in your house, and see, because I told you.
Yeah.
Like that. What?
Yeah, man.
We gotta
listen to you. Got it.
Let's hold on to the next topic. We're gonna carry this conversation on after the show. Don't let me forget, Kirshman, because I got something to tell you that's kind of funny. But don't let me forget. Okay. Now let's move on to the next topic. Go ahead, babe.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, brother T, man. You know how I get.
Che.
You know what I'm saying?
Like Che Guerrero.
Yeah, man. And you know what's funny about Che Guerrero? Was one of the best.
Yeah.
Latin, black. Now hold on, let me rephrase this. Melanated.
Yeah.
I had a shirt on with Che Guerrero, and it was red and black. It was red and black, and I was on the east side at my grandma's house. This white cop looked at me with it and mugged the shit out of me. I looked at him and laughed. And one of my uncles, rest in power, he was like, man,
Yeah,
he said, man, you better stop doing that, man. Them cops will shoot you, man. I was like, man, fuck that pig. I'm like, man, they don't know shit about what I fucking know. I'm a baby of a fucking whole different universe that nobody know about. I was born with 11 fingers.
That's what I'm talking. Hey, you got mine though, cuz.
All right, shit. I got all real people. I got Chi, little lady Chi. I got everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to connect with people. You know what I'm saying? But I don't give a fuck about no goddamn cracker. That's why I talk about soup, nigga. Because you know what I'm saying? Alphabet soups. Look that one up.
Che, goddammit. It's Che, not Chi.
You know what Chi is, right?
Yeah.
Chi is the force, the life force.
Yes,
yep.
I am God, bodily chi.
So just like when somebody says Shekano, Chekano, Chikana, that means the life force that comes from within yourself, within the universe. It's the key.
Hold on, we'll carry this on afterwards. Just hold on a sec. We're gonna move on to our next topic.
All right, let's go to the next topic. My bad. I'm just like talking too much.
So a good friend, Colin Kaepernick is launching a new initiative to offer autopsies for police-related deaths. This article's from OPB. I don't know what OPB stands for, but that's what the article is from.
Other people's dick.
Oh my God. OPB. Not D. Not OPP. Former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick announces the start of a new initiative to offer free second autopsies to family members of anyone whose death is police related. The autopsy initiative offered through Kaepernick's Know Your Rights Camp organization will provide free secondary autopsies conducted by board certified pathologists, who will disclose the preliminary findings and issue the final autopsy reports to families. The autopsy can be requested by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, such as a spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. The autopsy must be authorized by a legal representative according to the organization. Today, we are launching our autopsy initiative. This is from Twitter. Through this program, we will provide free, objective secondary autopsies in police-related death cases. Check out our website, knowyourrightscamp.com, to learn more information. Autopsy initiative. Today, there we go. The initiative will eliminate any concerns from the originally given autopsy, ensuring that it was conducted without any biases or errors and that any evidence wasn't manipulated, giving the victim's family a clear picture of what happened. We know that the prison industrial complex, which includes police and policing, strives to protect and serve its interests at all costs, Kaepernick told the Associated Press. The Autopsy Institute or initiative is one important step toward ensuring that family members have access to accurate and forensically verifiable information about the cause of death of their loved one in their time of need, he added. That's him taking a knee. That's the famous picture of him taking a knee with two other players. The former San Francisco 49ers quarterback has been the most vocal protester within the NFL when it comes to police brutality and racial inequality in the U.S. Kaepernick began kneeling during the national anthem before games 6 years ago as a peaceful protest was intended to raise awareness of police brutality against minorities. But as Kaepernick's protest gained popularity, it caught the attention of many conservatives, including the former President Donald Trump. No NFL team has since signed him to a contract.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Kaepernick and former teammate Eric Reed filed collusion grievances against the NFL, arguing that they were blacklisted due to protests during the national anthem at games, according to Associated Press. Both parties reached a settlement in 2019. In 2020, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said the league was wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encouraged all to speak out and peacefully protest.
So these never got on again. He's never been signed again.
Nope.
That's bullshit, NFL. Shame on you.
Yeah. Okay, so thoughts on Kaepernick's new initiative about autopsies for police-related deaths? Yeah, bravo.
We stay on calling Kaepernick. Shame on the motherfucking NFL. Y'all should have gave that guy another contract. Is his right? Is fucking freedom of speech to protest against any fucking atrocity? Especially the death of people in the hand, black people in the hands of motherfucking the police. Bravo for him sending that through. And I know that if I got shot up by the police or murdered by the police, I would want a fucking an autopsy. I would want my people to know that they killed me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because they try to cover it up.
And I wouldn't want my body parts sold miscellaneously.
Right.
On the black market. I wouldn't want to be empty like a motherfucking
cadaver.
Scarecrow. You know what I mean? And they come and get me and to show my body, I wouldn't want to be empty like they
Stuff
did with
full of
that
newspapers, Kendrick Johnson.
Yeah, like they did him, you know what I mean?
Stuffed his body full of newspaper.
Just like the family with the baby, you know what I mean? With the baby, when the baby died,
the
baby was missing its organs and eyes and brain. You know what I mean? And they didn't have no answer. There was no answer. Who did? Nobody knows. What the fuck you mean? And their parts got sold on the black market. You know that. I would want a second autopsy. Yeah. Do not ever fucking believe anything they say. Question everything.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thoughts, Christian Martin.
2-minute response time.
Christian Martin. Is he still with us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm still here. I just muted my phone, man. Cussing that shit so nobody can hear it. But the thing about Kaepernick, what I'm saying, was actually like what they don't tell you is there was a white beret who showed him how to fight against social justice against black people. And they don't show you the picture of the white guy who was kneeling with him because he was against the cause of his people and stuff like that. Now, when you look at the Denver Broncos, and how racist the Bolin family is, and they're trying to sell now to people with cryptocurrency, which is stupid and is not going to fly. You know what I'm saying? It's for the simple fact is the first black quarterback the Broncos had Marlon Briscoe. Marlon Briscoe was number 15. Tebow wore that number, and he sucked at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was the one that wore that number.
Yeah.
And when he wore that number, You know what I'm saying? That was Marlon Briscoe's number. He was a rookie and scored like 4 touchdowns, something. He did something that most rookies can never, ever do.
All right.
They ended up trading him and making him a receiver. But the thing about it is how racist our organization is in the NFL, different from the AFL, was the simple fact is that he got traded to the Miami Dolphins and was a receiver. He won a ring with the undefeated Miami Dolphins 1972 because he had drug addiction problems and stuff like that. Because like what Lady Shay, I just go by what it says. When she was saying about mental health, he had his own mental health issues he was dealing with. You know, and they said he lost everything. He went through all this, sold it because of his drug thing, whatever. But the curse of the Broncos is they lost the Super Bowl by a black quarterback. Now, the first time they lost was to the Dallas Cowboys. But prior to that, it was Doug Williams, Washington Redskins, the first black quarterback to set records and win as the first starting quarterback of an NFL football team. Beat us 42-10. The next time we lost to a black quarterback was Russell Wilson. 42-9. That was in the Super Bowl. The only reason why we did not beat what's his name? Cam Newton is because we had a black defensive linebacker by the name of what's his name? Von Miller. You know what I'm saying? Who sat there and he got the MVP, but they wanted to give it to fucking a white quarterback, Peyton Manning, who didn't do shit. Who didn't even want to shake people's hands when he lost the quarterback, when he lost to the Saints, when my cousin won a ring and sat up there. He didn't want to shake nobody's hand. He went into the fucking locker room with his bitch ass. And I seen him so many fucking times, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I know a racist duck when I see a duck. You know what I'm saying? A duck gonna quack the same way as it always do. You know what I'm saying? So, the thing about it is that they sit up there and use sports because I know a lot of people out there might see me posting sports and they probably not my friends on Facebook no more. But at the same time, it's because it has a lot to do with the way that we operate, the way that we do things. You know what I'm saying? Because what people don't realize is the first, what was it? What's the movie about from the Dodgers? You know what I'm saying? And you know the Dodgers done changed their name so many times. And there's been so many famous black people that try to sit up there and get their place. You know, and I hate using the word black because I know we're not black. But it's because of the fact that racism always plays a part in anything we do. Anything we do.
But
you know,
Chris, we got to keep this short.
They hate us because they're English.
For our next topic.
Yeah, my bad.
We still got.
Go ahead.
We gotta go because we're on a
we're on our podcast diet, so we gotta get through this.
Yeah,
okay. So our next topic is California reparations bill.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So I believe Tariq Nasheed had called in on this task force and exposed them and said reparations for FBA people on.
Member Lewis?
So that's the video.
This was not the vote the California Reparations Task Force was expecting to take today.
The discussion and vote on the community of eligibility will be postponed.
Instead of taking the historic vote on who should be eligible for reparations in California, the task force moved to delay that vote until March.
I am 100% opposed to thinking about this as a final vote.
The task force disagreed on whether there was sufficient expert testimony to make that decision and on the issue at hand of who should qualify for reparations. Should it be those who can track lineage to an African enslaved in America or Black Americans at large?
No, not at large. Those that can trace their
slavery's
lineage to the killing
fields of the South. If you have Black skin, you are catching hell in this country.
And some of us are just had a harder or harsh experience with this thing of racism, oppression, and enslavement.
Why is it so important to get this right?
It was recognized that they are not finished with their process. That there might be other types of information that would help to help them to make the decision that they will be making, which again will have a tremendous impact on this extremely historic issue.
Task Force Chair Camila Moore on today's delayed vote.
Initial reactions, I'm disappointed.
However, she's looking ahead to the release of Part 1 of the task force's report in June, showing the historic connection between 400 years of repression to present-day consequences, and the chance to hear from the community in a series of statewide listening sessions planned for this summer.
It provides an imaginative and collaborative space, linking community voices.
The first in the nation task force has approximately 7 meetings remaining, with work expected to finish in 2023, with recommendations on what reparations should look like in California. Julian Glover, ABC 7 News.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So hold on. I gotta read it real quick. So San Francisco, KGU or O, that's the ABC affiliate out of San Francisco. California's first in the nation reparations task force was poised to answer the question of who should be eligible for reparations in the state Thursday, but instead delayed the historic vote until March. The 9-member task force, created in 2020 by the passage of AB 3121, met for a 7th month. Let's scroll down. The group first convened in June 2021 and is tasked with documenting historical harms of slavery and determining what reparations for African Americans should look like in California. But before answering the question of what, the task force will determine who should be eligible for reparations and what the eligibility could look like. The task force voted 5-4 on Thursday to delay a vote on the matter and continue discussion until March. I am 100% opposed to thinking about this as a final vote on the matter of our community eligibility, said member Dr. Cheryl Grills. I say that I'm against it because they have not finished doing our work to know the implications and the cost of doing that. Denying reparations because they cannot establish that lineage, she said. There's another video. I don't know how long it is.
Can I share? Can I share, babe? Can I? I'm already ready.
I'm already sharing, babe.
The task force met for the 4th month today. A key piece of testimony in today's hearing came from a story done by ABC 7 News race and culture reporter Julian Glover. And Julian joins us live. Julian.
Hi, good evening, Dan. Yes, the Merritt City native Paul Austin testified before the California Reparations Task Force today, and you may remember his story. He and his wife had the value of their Merritt City home jumped $500,000 after they had a white friend stand in for them for that home appraisal process. They believed their home was valued for less because they're Black, and now Paul is hoping that his experience will help create change across the state of California.
Their testimony.
For the 4th month, California's first in the nation reparations task force met with a focus on the racial wealth gap and how reparations for the descendants of enslaved Africans could begin to repair damages from decades of racist policy.
You call it reparations, we call it justice.
According to the Federal Reserve, on average, Black households have a net worth of just $24,000 compared to $188,000 for white families, nearly 8 times as much in 2019.
Looking at these policies in the past, but it's also about looking at policies today and Black Americans like Paul Austin, who are homeowners in the current day, who are still facing what we could say is anti-Black discrimination.
The reason why I was asked to testify, me and my wife, Tanisha, was because our story about our home went viral.
The Austins exclusively shared their now viral story with ABC 7 News earlier this year.
Had a conversation with one of our white friends, and she was like, no problem, I'll be Tanisha. I'll bring over some pictures of my family.
Their home then appraised for $493,000 more after a second appraisal. Paul is convinced now, as he was then, race was a factor, as are 6 other families who've also shared their stories of alleged appraisal discrimination with ABC 7 News.
It's 9 months since your story went viral. What does it mean to you to be speaking before the California Reparations Task Force?
Well, number one, it's such an honor. But what's most important, I think, is we might actually be able to see some real tangible change.
We commend you and your family for stepping forward.
Paul's personal testimony of how a biased system nearly forced his family to miss out on $500,000 in equity during that home appraisal was supported by several expert witnesses.
It is a Jim Crow credit and capital system. It is separate and unequal.
The expert and personal testimony being considered as the task force decides what reparations might look like. Their work will conclude in 2023.
I don't want to see my children have to deal with this.
One expert witness suggested that $400,000 for each Black person should just be the starting point for reparations, and that only accounts for the stolen labor during slavery. The California Reparations Task Force will meet for another 6 meetings over the next year and a half to decide on an exact number, and if money is the only way to shell out reparations and make this group of people
payments,
whole.
goddammit.
Reporting live, Julian Glover, ABC 7 News. Powerful reporting.
Thank you, Julian. Julian is
cash payments.
Now, keep in mind, Black family,
The task force disagreed on the timing of the vote, and a significant expert testimony was heard and weighed. In January's meeting, California Secretary of State Shirley Weber suggested reparations for African Americans should be limited to people whose ancestors were kidnapped from their homeland, stripped of their ancestry, and sold into slavery in America. Over the last 2 days, the task force has grappled with if reparations should be extended to a broader group. Black people living in the state who may not draw their lineage to the enslaved in America, but are still inflicted by historic and present systemic racism. No, and hell no. If you have black skin, you are catching hell in this country, said a member Lisa Holder. Some of us have had a harsher experience with this thing of racism, oppression, and enslavement, said Vice President or Vice Chair Dr. Amos Brown. After debate that extended beyond the initially allotted time, it was clear that the task force understood the gravity of the vote at hand and decided to delay a decision. It was recognized that they are not finished with the process and that there might be other types of information that would help them to make that decision, which again will have a tremendous impact on this extremely historic issue, said Nietzsche. Okay. Nietzsche Taifa or Taifa. She's definitely not FBA. Director of Reparations Education Projects. There's another video. God damn, how many videos is it?
Well, you know what's surprising is we didn't know about this shit till yesterday.
Well, Tariq Nasheed
your
did a
income
video on it.
creates your wealth.
School on a Saturday.
If you like money, raise your hand.
But this lesson is far more than a book can teach.
With kids, once they learn early, just like tying their shoes, they never forget these things.
Financial planner Kenneth Booth wants to make sure they never forget.
Does anybody get an allowance?
With lessons once a month from the nonprofit Black River Financial Youth Academy. He knows the future of Black wealth is in their hands.
We want to teach kids the difference between income and wealth. See, we want to
create wealth.
According to the Pew Research Center, income inequity is rising in the U.S., making it increasingly difficult for African Americans to build wealth. Financial experts say now's the time to break that cycle.
Parents can learn from the kids, because a lot of the things that these kids that we're teaching, parents don't know.
That means these kids have their work cut out for them. But in order to understand how far they can go, you first have to understand how Black Americans came to be at such a disadvantage when it comes to building wealth.
We basically came here without even the wealth of the material possessions that we had in the continent of Africa. So we had basically nothing.
And Dr. Malefe Kete Asante of Temple University says what Blacks did have, they usually built, but couldn't always keep.
The properties, for example, were taken away from them.
Leaving each generation to start from scratch.
We are starting severely behind the eight ball.
That's why financial experts like Aisha Selden have made it their mission to help. The self-proclaimed girl from the projects of South Philly has come a long way.
I became a millionaire by the time I was 30.
A certified financial planner, stockbroker, real estate investor, and now economic activist, she says ownership is the first key to building Black wealth.
We all focus on ownership, period.
Whether it's owning property, a business, or stocks and investments.
One of the easiest ways to participate in stock ownership is in a company-sponsored retirement plan. My dollar, their dollar, I doubled my money.
In order to make room for ownership or investing, Selden says start with a budget.
Print out about 3 to 6 months worth of their bank statements, right? And then go down their bank statement and actually highlight what are all my wants versus all of my needs.
If there's no wiggle room, make some.
Starting vending machine businesses. They're reselling things on Amazon. I mean, there's so many different ways to create additional wealth.
That extra money can then go into ownership, but that's not where it ends.
We're trying to change the narrative on Black wealth. Leaving assets to those behind us is extremely important.
That means laying out an estate plan so the wealth you build can live long after you're gone.
I always say that nothing really spends faster than inherited money. You can be very specific and very clear and speak from the grave on how you want that asset to be distributed. You can even go as far as to say my children can only use the income, and then the principal then rolls over to their children.
And money now is more transferable than ever with digital wallets, including the first Black-owned one, Black Wall Street Digital Wallet, backed by actor and activist Hill Harper.
In 1863, when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, Black people in America held a little less than 1% of American wealth. Today, Black people in America hold a little less than 1% of American wealth.
Something that Dr. Asante thinks has more potential to change now than ever.
I think the internet has made many things more possible. Moolah!
And to these kids, anything's possible when it comes to building wealth.
When we get that money in our hands, what do we do with it?
That was a nice video.
I got something I want to talk about.
Talifa provided expert testimony to the task force on past experts.
All eyes are on key families.
Talifa provided expert testimony to the task force on past efforts to gain reparations on Wednesday. She acknowledged the work before the California Reparations Task Force is both historic and also a continuum of the fight for redress for African Americans that dates back more than a century. The remainder of the day's meeting centered around the preparation of the first of 2 major reports by the task force. And they got another video. Jeez. What is this one? Oh, they're talking about Juneteenth on this one.
No.
Part 1 of the report will document the historical connection between 400 years of oppression to present-day consequences for Black Americans. Topics include slavery, political exclusion, racist housing practices, environment, the justice system, and a number of other facets of life laced with the inequity for Black Americans. This substantial report projected to span hundreds of pages will be released in June. This summer, the task force will hold at least 10 listening sessions across California to hear testimony on the impact of the legacy of slavery, both historically and to present day. So if anybody's tuning in from California, make sure you're a part of these 10 listening sessions. It's very crucial, Black family.
Very.
It provides an imaginative and collaborative space linking community voices to task force members, said more. The second part of the report will be released in June of 2023, according to the task force. That document will define reparations, responsibility to pay reparations, eligibility, forms and reparations, and how it should be calculated.
That, I have to say, I got like a couple. I got something I want to say real quick. They put it, yeah, okay. Check it out. Thankfully, you know, California decided to take the initiative to go ahead and start this shit for all of California. That's good. I believe like this. FBA would say, you know, if you could trace it back to the killing fields of the South, then you deserve reparations.
Yeah. You mean
right.
Professor Black True.
Yeah, Professor Black True. Yeah. Forgive me. Trace it back to the killing fields of the South. What they were saying, well, what about all Black people that live, anybody with Black skin? No. Only the ones that are here in America, the foundational Black Americans, should be able to get it. Now, if you're from another country, such as South America, even the continent itself,
or the Caribbean,
yeah.
Sue your colonizer.
That's where you got to go for yours. Sue your colonizer. Me, for example, I'm multiracial. My father's been dead for 41 years. Everybody in his family is probably dead. Has been dead, and I don't know who put down. However, due to some genetic things that happened to me in the womb, I was able to have my blood tested. I have a geneticist, not the DNA test, okay? Like the ones they see circulating. Geneticist. Look it up. Go ahead and do my research. You know, so I know that at least on one side of my family can be traced back somewhere. You know? However, in my case, reparations to me doesn't really matter because I grew up under the system of white supremacy. So up until I had to be up until I woke up, I was always awake. Awakened fully, and I kicked out all that shit and reprogrammed and then picked a side. Reparations in my mind doesn't count for me. And I believe that no matter what my bloodline can trace back to, because it can't trace back that far. It doesn't matter to me personally, and not even to my legacies that I had. It wouldn't matter to me, and maybe if I pondered on it more to my future children, if Allah decides to bless us or whatever again, then perhaps. Even then, there's other measures for me because I don't want to have those. I don't even like having these debates personally about colorism or whatever. In the fact that I know who I am, where I am, and I pick the side, right? So even though right now we're at war, right? Correct? And we're Black first, correct?
Correct.
So I chose a side when I fully awakened, being multiracial. I'm Black, Indian, and French. So considering that, I chose a side since we're Black first, period. So in my mind, I'm in agreement with foundational Black Americans in regards to reparations. If you could trace your lineage all the way back to the killing fields of the South.
To the 1870 census.
The 1870 census. Then you are qualified for reparations. If you're Black or you're melanated, like our brother said, melanated color, but from the Caribbean islands, South America,
Central America,
no, South America, dude.
Central America, South America,
Central South America, or the continent, or the motherland, the continent itself, sue your colonizer. Period. Sue your colonizer and do it fucking now while we have time. Anybody else, sit it the fuck down. That means gay people, sit it the fuck down. White people, no, you cannot jump in just because you think or may think that your grandma or granddaddy was black and on the motherfucking first fucking 5 ships. Okay, just because of your last name, sit it the fuck down. Period. Everybody sit it the fuck down. It is foundation of Black Americans, descendants of slavery, time to fucking rise. Anybody getting in the way is gonna get ran over, full of season on the motherfucking reparations at the check.
period.
It's just how the new black media says it. Don't let the shade of my motherfucking skin deflect the message. Cut the check. Anybody who could trace their lineage that deserves, not only deserves, qualified, and is owed. You stole them, you owe. You stole us, you owe us. Fuck you, paid me. That type of mentality. Cut the check. Hold your vote. There's nothing tangible until you have reparations.
Period.
So don't let the shade of my skin deflect the message. You know what I mean? That's what is owed to you. That's what you deserve. They stole you. Stole us. They owe you. They owe us. Want them. Fuck you. Pay us. Pay. Cut the check. Simple as that. Don't get involved in no more other shit. Don't fuck this war that's about to happen. We already know they've already involved us. We're just gonna sit at home and watch the shit play out. Not going to vote till there's something fucking tangible. I'm glad that California started this shit, which means that each state, because we're in Colorado right here, I mean each state should jump on board and start the same shit for each state. Fuck all this talking. I'm glad they only set it up to 7 meetings. Maybe we should follow the same train of thought, except actually have a fucking answer. And since we have an answer, just pull points from several different things. Where the fuck is Ice Cube in California on this task force?
Right.
Why hasn't anybody reached out to Ice Cube?
Right.
Why isn't anybody talking to Ice Cube?
Right.
Go, motherfuckers, go now. Cube.
Yeah.
We need you.
O'Shea.
You hear me? Can we get you, brother?
Right.
Because he got the whole contract for Black America. Read it. Read it. I've been reading it. It's fucking easy read. It's simple. It makes fucking sense. I mean, we got brothers in there right now running for office right now on the Black grassroots Black grassroots thing. Okay, their fucking mind is set for the same situation that we're talking about right here, right now.
Yeah.
Foreign immigrants, you know what I mean? The ones that know, you already know what to do. You know, the like my family, my good family, you know, don't even worry about this shit. You already know what to do. You already know what you need to do for yourself. And as long as you keep doing what you're doing, you know what I mean? The disrespectful ones, fuck you, sit it down, no, you don't get nothing, go back home to your own fucking colonizer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or go home and fucking deal with the shit that you ran from. Other motherfuckers, though, this is in regards to disrespectful ones. You know, they come here and think that they can fucking be so disrespectful. That's a wrap. That shit has been done. We're not having it. Not having it. Everybody else that we love, our family, further family, doing what you're doing, man. You ain't did nothing wrong. This don't even apply to you. You know what I mean? But foundational Black Americans, that's it. Cut the check.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have time for Christian Mother's response.
Yeah,
we're gonna move on to the next topic. If we got like 2 more topics.
It's mine, right?
No, it's Lee Merritt.
You see myself being spelled?
Lee Merritt. Oh, our good friend Lee Merritt. Oh God. So the civil rights attorney Lee Merritt, who's been at, he's presided over several cases over the years. Him and Ben Crump. I don't know who's worse.
They're both bad. If they both got fucking major flying miles, I mean, they're everywhere. Crump has been racking them up though lately.
They won't let me play the video, but I'm gonna read the article. It's real quick. So Lee Merritt talks voting rights in Texas. His campaign for Attorney General. Yes, Attorney General. He wants to run for Attorney General of Texas. There are just days to go until the 2022 Texas primaries, and one of the closest races is the battle for Texas Attorney General. While a Democrat hasn't won any statewide office in nearly 3 decades, there's still a crowded field hoping to win the party's nomination. One of those candidates is nationally known civil rights attorney Lee Merritt. I think it's important to note that Democrats have been closing the gap, said Merritt during an interview on Capitol Tonight. The people who stayed home could have changed the last election. We need a candidate who will inspire that vote. And my campaign does just that. Merritt, who highlighted his background fighting for voting access in Texas. Voting rights and protecting the vote is paramount to his campaign, said Merritt. It's paramount to Texas being able to fight for all the other things we need to vote for. Other candidates in the Democratic primary include the former mayors of Galveston, Joe Jaworski, former Harris County Judge Mike Fields, and former ACLU lawyer Rochelle Garza. On the Republican side, incumbent Ken Paxton is hoping to hold on to his seat, but recent polling shows he's likely headed to a runoff. He's facing Land Commissioner George P. Bush, former Texas Supreme Court Justice Eva Guzman, and Texas Representative Louis Gumont. Bush, Guzman, and Bush will all face off in a live debate on Spectrum News 1 Thursday. Watch that on air on our app at 6 p.m. Central Standard. That's it. I really don't have time for thoughts on this, but Lee Merritt.
Don't vote for him. Fuck him, man.
Yeah, man. He's one of those ambulance chasers. Now he want to be a goddamn.
He's a cool man. Don't vote for him. Stay home, Texas.
Stay home, Texas.
Okay. Next one. Go ahead, real quick. What's the next one?
The Supreme Court Justice.
Oh my God.
Biden nominates Ketanji Brown Jackson to be first Black woman to sit on Supreme Court. I don't know how long this video is. Stupid
This will blow your mind.
Goddamn CNN. The damn ads. Here we go.
I am standing here today by the grace of God as testament to the love and support that I've received from my family. I have also been blessed with many dear friends, colleagues, mentors, law clerks. I could not possibly name all of the people to whom I owe great thanks. But I must mention specifically the 3 brilliant jurists for whom I had the privilege of serving as a law clerk at the outset of my legal career. U.S. District Judge Patty Saris in Massachusetts, U.S. Court of Appeals Judge Bruce Selya in Rhode Island, and last but certainly not least, Associate Justice Stephen Breyer of the Supreme Court of the United States. Justice Breyer, in particular, not only gave me the greatest job that any young lawyer could ever hope to have, but he also exemplified every day in every way that a Supreme Court justice can perform at the highest level of skill and integrity while also being guided by civility, grace, pragmatism, and generosity of spirit. Justice Breyer, the members of the Senate will decide if I fill your seat, but please know that I could never fill your shoes.
Mm. Yeah, it was. I wonder who wrote it for him. Okay, so Kataji is nominated. So that was her.
Is this the second nominee or the third one? Or is that first or second one?
This is the final nomination.
Okay. So we have
President, yeah. So if you remember, it was 6 people.
Did he nominate it?
Yeah, initially. And she's the one that he chose out of all 7. President Joe Biden nominated Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court on Friday, setting in motion a historic confirmation process for the first Black woman to sit on the highest court in the nation. Today, as we watch freedom and liberty under attack abroad, I'm here to fulfill my responsibilities under the Constitution to preserve freedom and liberty here in the United States of America, Biden said at the White House as he introduced Jackson. For too long, our government, our courts haven't looked like America, Biden said. I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation, with a nominee of extraordinary qualifications, that we inspire all young people to believe that they can one day serve their country at the highest level. I'm not reading this whole article because it's just ridiculously long.
My thoughts are simple. I like the speech. She's kind of pretty, in a neat little way. Don't like the fact that she's a bad wench.
Yeah, she's married to a white man.
However, I do like the fact that she's a public defender, and my brother educated me on it, so it's kind of a good thing. That he places this particular lady, in this position. Hopefully they choose on it. Sorry to say, I don't know why the sisters be doing this shit with the white men, but that don't matter. Fact is that she's young, public defender. That was a pretty decent speech. I kind of seen the whole thing, so didn't like the fucking bed wenching shit. But other than that, I think that it's a good thing. I think she's a better choice than the other ones. I think this is probably the better choice, right? Out of the other 6 that we did.
They were all bad wenches.
And they're all bad wenches, right? But at least you can have the one Kamala Harris looking fucking Indian black chick.
Yeah.
Fucking woo! That was fatally ugly. Or some other shit. So this is a semi-decent lady. The fact is that this person will have this job until the end of their life,
Mm-hmm.
So that's setting her up for being able to hopefully do some good. She looks like, and just based on body language, she looks like she could probably be a good person for the Supreme Court.
So how does this help Black people? Is this just more symbolism, or is there going to be some kind of tangible benefit from having her on the bench?
I don't know because they have Black people on the Supreme Court already.
Clarence Thomas.
There has not been any good, really, too much for Black people, in regards to the ones that they've already had. I mean, they're here and there, but not really so much. I don't want to. I want to be hopeful, but we can't keep hope alive. So we'll see. We just have to wait and see what they say. But I haven't really seen too much real good done for Black people as a whole. Not some inclusive shit, but just for Black people as a whole from the Supreme Court. Never really. What I find is the real tragedy is that we don't, as Black people, have a system created just for us. You know what I mean? Because this inclusion shit has just gotten us more and more oh shit. This scared me. More and more atrocities done to us, you know what I mean? People have skated by, committing crimes and doing fucked up shit to us. We've been humiliated, we've been betrayed, we've been more broad and ambiguous terms like marginalized and shit like that due to systems like coming from the Supreme Court. So I don't really think so. I don't really think that until the whole system can be redone, restructured, everybody wiped out and start fresh, like a whole reset, and in the benefit and justice for Black people specifically, I don't think anything good can really be had for us at this rate. Just due to the simple facts of the systems that are already involved. You know what I mean? They have conditioned us to just sit down and accept it. So I don't know. At first, I asked the same question. I feel like, is this fucking Biden's way of ass kissing to the fucking Black people that are not going to vote?
I think it is.
In my opinion, I think it is. However, I've listened to some other people about it, and they seem to have different thoughts. But looking at it as everything is racist and he knows he's losing. I mean, this shit that he's doing right now with the Ukraine, I mean, that should bring his motherfucking voter likes and shit down to a major negative. I mean, where the fuck is his vice president at? Major negative points. I mean, I don't really think if this is just something that he's doing, I question it too. My question is like,
sucking his dick under the White House like fucking Malinsky. Sorry.
Right. So like in my thing, I'm thinking it's just something he's just doing to fucking get like Black people a war presidency. They're like, hey, I did something for you here. Take this.
You got Juneteenth. You got Juneteenth. You got Hip Hop Day. You got Hip Hop Month.
What the fuck is that?
You got what else? You got crack pipes, and now you got this.
Yeah, and it's like that really isn't a benefit to us, with the crack pipes. I mean, come on, man, it's funny as shit, but it's really not. What you need to start doing is just selling more of a fucking other. He just needs to pull it together. I mean, honestly, Bidenites, you did this.
Mm-hmm.
You did this. So, fucking Biden.
And we're still waiting on you. Where are you at?
Are you aroused by this fucking?
Where are you Biden sexuals at?
This thing that he did right now. I mean, it's a bad wench, cuz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she was just so happy about it. I'm like, yes, congratulations. That's a big position from your
gonna
position
do her
placed
job.
there. That's a long time position. That's like a forever position. So that's constant money. However, what is this really about? You know what I mean? What is this really about?
And if she was a district attorney, did she charge any officers?
Yeah,
did she get any Black people off?
Let's really look at it. Because she was a public defender.
Or she was a public defender. Did she defend any Black people? Did
Right.
she get any Black people off?
She had to have. I mean, we're lucky to have public defenders. So I'm not really looking at that as bad, as a negative thing, because there's been times in my life where a fucking public defender has got me out of a lot of fucking crazy shit. So I'm not really saying that that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is What is his agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a token.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Time white people put black faces out there, they're tokenizing them.
Yep.
So what is his ultimate agenda? Is he trying to kiss our ass now? Fuck him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's tokenizing this broad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Seriously. He's tokenizing her. Anytime a white person puts a black face out there to represent their motherfucking interest, that's a token. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that goes in the same instance for when black people use white people to get their message across. We're tokenizing them white people. Same shit. You know, but that's the only way we can reach them. Just like, is that his fucking thought process? That putting a black face to his problem is going to be the only way he can reach us? Think about it. You know, we don't often think about.
Since he won't meet with us because of COVID. Since he won't meet with Ice Cube because of COVID.
Yeah, he won't meet
with Black Lives Matter because of
This motherfucker go
COVID.
maskless everywhere, man. He is a fucking hypocrite. That motherfucker, they showed him shopping and shit. He don't have no mask on. And you see motherfucking paparazzi out there. Excuse me, Mr. Biden. You're not wearing a mask inside. Crickets. Come on, cuz. He goes maskless everywhere. He's maskless doing fucking press conferences. He's maskless fucking having Jen Psaki out there fucking doing her great manifold fucking pivots to avoid fucking questions and telling motherfuckers to fuck off and shit when she's answering shit. She don't got no mask on. Nobody's wearing a motherfucking mask. And according to the news, there's another motherfucking variant out there that's just as bad, if not worse, as the fucking Omicron. In our fucking circulating our city now. And they're talking about, well, we take off the mask mandate. Fuck you, I ain't listening.
This is a ploy. This is a ploy, just like this article says. Biden's pick is a chance for him to fire up the Democratic base that is less excited to vote in this year's midterm elections.
Hold your vote.
I wonder why we're less. I'm not a Democrat, but I wonder why the Democratic base is less excited to vote in this year's midterm elections.
Yeah, we got time to get away.
And the answer goes on.
Yeah, fuck you. You're not getting no vote. You're not getting no vote. If you vote for something that isn't tangible for you, you might as well just call yourself a coon and a sellout. Just hold your vote. Real shit. I said it. Hold your fucking vote. Yeah, I'm saying if you don't vote, or if you go vote, you better have something fucking tangible. Upon questioning by real motherfuckers, well, why did you vote? Don't say because you like the fuck you like what he said. He's stage presence because we're gonna laugh at you.
Right.
You're a sellout. You know what I mean? You stand with us, man, and move the fuck away. Because either way, there's nothing tangible until they cut the check.
Period.
So, go ahead, dude. What's the next topic?
Your topics.
Yeah, you can open it.
Okay, so our last two topics of the night, now it's the night, is Unhoused Neighbor News and Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps. So the sweeps were canceled last week due to the code. Yeah. As far as we know, they were canceled, so there was no sweeps last week.
I got juicy details.
And Lady Che has details on that and other Unhoused Neighbor News. So, Lady Che.
Oh, do that, baby. Do that to the perfect people. All right. No, the other way. All right. Okay, man, my hair is there. All right, put it down there. All right, check it out, people. So the sweeps were allegedly canceled because we had two blizzards in 1 week?
Yeah.
And it's been below, or for a couple of those days, it was below
32 degrees, yeah.
In the negatives, okay? So we got B, J, we got family and stuff that's been out there camping. Well, I heard directly from a family member that's outside. They managed to get themselves a 3-day voucher. So hotel, right? Our little family decided to get themselves a motel voucher. Now, to tell you that they said that the sweeps were canceled, they lied. So during the middle of a snowstorm, they came and fucking blew it. Whole camp. So when our little family came out and they went back to the streets because they couldn't get, the main reason why nobody has been able to withstand their living circumstances inside of a motel, because they're giving away, they might give you a 3-day pass to a room. Okay? Then after that, they won't renew it. So you have to go back out on the street, right? The reason why people are staying outside is because there's no guarantee of them to continue on with a motel voucher. So they have nobody to watch their belongings. Meaning that when they go inside for 3 days, and I know this set up back because it happened to me the first couple of times when I took a motel voucher. Because my ex was incarcerated at the time. You know, I had a heart condition and put me on a voucher through through MACD. And I went in for the first 3 days. I left my stuff there, thinking that it could be watched, and it was watched. You know what I mean? However, motherfuckers watching it let people trifle through it or went through it themselves, and they ended up taking some things or destroying my whole tent altogether. You know what I mean? Just because jealousy is a real sickness. So when they went back outside, most of their shit was gone. It was all gone, actually. The whole camp, which was like 12 tents deep, all gone. Clean street. And they had to start all over again. So during the middle of a blizzard, the police, they got no motherfucking conscience. I mean, we heard people at city council this week talking about the streets were canceled due to a winter storm. Me, case in point, I have to tell my people out there, man, you're gonna have to hit me up and tell me, let me know when they're gonna be there, so I can make sure she go right. Blah 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 blah. We can get we can get you in them non-congressional fucking vouchers or whatever. I put a message out to the actual service provider that's supposed to help out with this shit. Y'all saw it last week when we did it. Put a bigger in caps. Can you please let me know? Did they let us know? No. Again. So, I mean, my case is thoroughly building for, them not wanting to work with us. And that's okay. Don't work with us. There's a couple of Black organizations that are working with us. So fuck you. You will hear about it tomorrow, though, on city council. Because that shit is fucked up. You're sweeping people. In the middle of winter, this is the first time that Colorado has had these fucked up, soulless fucking sweeps, where they come and they trash shit, and they don't have answers. We're lucky that there's motherfuckers like me that do got answers. I do know I have answers. I just don't want to waste them on this fucking city council. Why? Because you fuckers don't, you don't vote. You don't vote on the right shit. And you give too much money away to
service providers.
These programs that all have the same things in common, and they're repetitive and redundant. And it's basically the same organizations that are doing the same activity, and you're giving millions to them away, and nothing is getting handled, nothing is getting fixed. People that are on housing vouchers, like myself, I live in an apartment right now that has no heater. Have they came to fix it? No. I mean, like, they've known for over a month, a month then?
Easily.
Easily. Do they care? No. They started serving with a fucking 10-day eviction notice. I fought that. So, no. These systems right here are based on bullshit. There's a lot of things happening right now in the city regarding homelessness. But also too, Union Station has like a lot of homeless individuals there. That look, that's like the part of the city, that it's real touristy. It's our transportation hub where we can catch the I like to call it the trolley, the little street shuttle. I like to call it that. We got the light rail. We got the train.
The Amtrak.
The Amtrak. Letting all the buses go there.
The Greyhound bus.
The Greyhound, yep. The Greyhound bus was there too?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because they shut that other one down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our transportation hub, and it's right in the middle of 16th Street. And it's really pretty. It on the outside or whatever, there's restaurants and shit surrounding it. Like a lot of white people like to go over there. But that's the only place where homeless people and anybody traveling from one part of the city to the next can catch their transportation. Now, for over 2 years, it has been populated by homeless people because of the suites. That is the only place you can really go for about 2 hours at a time. Somebody decided all of a sudden that they didn't like it no more. They like the shit going on because you can go in the bathrooms, you can see people who have been outside struggling for a long time. These are long time people were outside struggling, inside getting high, shooting up, fucking smoking meds, smoking crack, smoking weed, fucking anywhere. They're usually in the bathroom. Well, to tell you that this place was not, it was already being secured by the police, by the RTD security. This place has already had they have a security office right in the middle of the fucking bus stop inside of this, inside of the station. There's a fucking security station with like 5 security guards, all armed. Okay, so this has been going on for years. Now it's heavily fucking managed by the police, guardian angels, security, RTD, the feds. There's like 5 agencies down there to manage that. And just Saturday, or just recently, I wouldn't say Saturday.
This last week,
No, it was like 2 days ago, 2-3 days ago.
That was last week.
No, maybe it's right here.
That was last week.
Oh, okay. Please say him in the fucking semantic. Last week, I think it was Thursday. They came and arrested 42 people in one day.
Mm-hmm.
42 people in one day. That is that's devastating. And to let you know that not only are they doing that, but because the homeless people thought that, fuck, I can't be here in the city because they're ticketing us and they're giving us jail time. Let's just go further out. So then they went to the airport and they're arresting homeless people at the airport. So our unhoused neighbors who are just trying to stay warm, because we are in winter, are going to jail.
Yeah.
That's how they're solving our problems, putting them in jail. And then to tell them that they can't, because vagrancy is a misdemeanor. Right? They're putting them in there for just, you get caught like 3 times, you're serving some time. You know what I mean? You don't get out like you would if you were just a regular person. You got picked up for being a bum laying on the street. So you go to jail and you're in there for 1 day because that's a victimless crime. You know what I mean? You're just fucking homeless. You're just trying to stay warm. They're going to jail now for like 6 months at a time because that's how they want to solve their fucking problem. That's unfair. It's inhumane. So we're looking at different options with a quick result, like 3 months max, to start setting up shit. Because not only do we have to worry about our homeless people, Black family, but we also have to worry about ourselves. We're in a time of war, and anytime we could be right back, I could be right back out there. So I'm gonna start teaching classes on urban survival because if anybody knows how to survive on the sidewalk, me. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't ready for that. A lot of people aren't ready for it. I mean, just thinking about we stocking our cabinets and building up pantries and whatnot for ourselves, just in case, we do have to be indoors somewhere or we do have to be locked down. You know what I mean? So now we not only have to build up for ourselves, but we also have to build up for our unhoused.
Yeah.
Because they're out there. So while you're thinking about yourselves, white people.
Hey, peace, brother Cecil.
Yes, peace, brother Cecil. Think about them. You know what I mean? Thank you, brother. Think about them. Think about the fact that not only are you preparing for our own war, fucking white supremacy. We got that shit going on with the Ukraine. I don't even want to get into that right now. But we should start preparing for the homeless too. Because there's nobody out there looking out for them. And the people that do give a fuck about them are usually us.
Yeah.
You know, I remember how many times when I was outside homeless and somebody would give me a sandwich or a fucking burrito, and fucking man, there's days I really crave a fucking homeless burrito, you know, but it would come out and give it to me, and they were black.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always us doing for them. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what we build up in our supplies for our families and for each other, but we look out for each other because, you know, anything could happen. And we might have to be indoors. We might have to go underground. We might have to do whatever we need to do to survive. We might have to be doing our own trading to get the things we need, such as water, toilet paper, gasoline, whatever, right?
I'm all with it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying too. Like us, you know what I mean? As far as us being black, yeah. I mean, our brother over here.
I don't know if you can see my hoodie.
Yeah, see, I don't know about our brother on the other side. Has been saying I'm melanated people. Either way, I'm 41, so to answer your question, I would always say black, Indian, and French. I'm black, Indian, and French.
It says black on my birth certificate. My original birth certificate, it said black.
I don't have a birth certificate. I got a certificate of live birth. I don't have a birth certificate. I never got one. And they didn't make them then from California, Southport, California. So when I went to do my birth certificate comes back as like a receipt. It looks like a credit card receipt that you would get when they swipe it and they print it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like with the copies.
To answer Brother Cecil's question, I prefer black over African American. Right. African American is something that Jesse Jackson had came up with to try to reconnect us with our African heritage. But I prefer black.
Yeah, not all of us are from there. Think about it. A lot of us were.
Does it have to do with the bonds, Brother Cecil? This next question says, have you ever studied why they created the birth certificate?
No, Brother Cecil. I had not. I never really thought to look into it until this year, because this last year, because of mine and Che's relationship. Colorism has been a really fucking descriptive, derogatory in my regard. I mean, I don't think I've ever felt so much ugliness towards it in regards to our people doing it to me as I have in my whole life. Mostly everybody just fucking accepts the fact that I'm Black, Indian, French. But then it was like a big topic now that when I'm doing all these different platforms that I had to really start looking into shit. I had to basically break out with my own personal private thoughts and my secrets and shit, where I was talking about the fact that reparations and what it requires, that you trace your lineage back, you know what I mean? And due to I had a genetic condition, a congenital condition, I mean, that I had a geneticist, a real geneticist, trace it back. So I know what I know my I know where I come from. So that was my private thing, you know what I mean? But I felt like in order to look into that, I would have to dig deep. But my mine comes back as a certificate of live birth. It doesn't come back as a birth certificate. It does state my certificate of live birth is what I use for jobs or whatever I need to whenever they ask for a birth certificate. That's what I show them, because that's the only thing that I have that I got from the the place where the
Vital Records.
The Vital Records, yeah. I'm from California, so the Vital Records.
The Office of Vital Records.
Yeah, and it comes back as a credit card receipt, and it shows my mother and Oleg's father's
he has a whole
name and stuff.
Let's see. It says peace. I have to say that because there's a doctrine that they created when we were slaves that was a way to take away our private, how do I say, our dignity. Let's put it like that. And they're saying that we could not protect and take care of ourselves. So they created the birth certificate that takes the right from us and gives it to them. I have a teacher named Dr. Ray Higgins. He told me that today. I shared that earlier. Dr. Ray is a good teacher. He shows us more information.
Yeah, did you share that, brother?
Yeah.
Because we'll look into that because that's really important.
I've seen his videos.
Yeah, that's really important, Brother Cecil, because it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me.
We lost Christian Runner.
Yeah, he'll be right. It doesn't surprise me that they would do that to us. Because they think they were like what, 3/5 of a man.
3/5 of a human, yeah.
Yeah, 3/5 of a human. During chattel slavery, they were taking us and examining us and fucking, for all sorts of different things. So yes, it does not surprise me the malice behind them. Mm-hmm. Everything is designed to fucking upset us, degrade us, belittle us, or end us. You know what I mean? So yeah, that didn't surprise me. I would like to read up more on it because I'm just appalled right there by that statement. Reading it right now to myself, I'm fucking appalled. Like, but thankfully somebody knows something that they were able to teach you. So each one teach one, you know
each one teach three, yep.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brother Cecil, for that valuable information.
I'm gonna look more into that. Thank you, brother.
But we're at the very end of the episode, so thank you all for tuning in to episode 51 of the Frontline Black News. We'll be back. He said something else. He's no longer a Christian brother. Okay, that's good to know. He has seen the light, and he's no longer a Christian. He's now a spiritualist that teaches our Kemetic, I think that's what he meant to say, Kemetic ways. He's trying to get us all to understand where we come from and where we can go from here through the information, the African ways. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we not really got to look at the African ways. We also need to look at the African ways through South and Central America. Because not all the
the indigenous. We need to look at the indigenous ways.
They're not talking about $5 African.
Oh Lord, this guy.
They're not talking about $5 Indians either. I mean, because there's a lot of things going on with that as well.
Okay, yes, sir. Appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you, buddy.
So yeah, this has been episode 51 of the Frontline Black News. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back next week at our regular scheduled time of Saturday.
Yes.
At 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So make sure you tune into that. It will be our year episode of the Frontline Black News, episode 52.
We're so happy about that.
Yes. So we'll see y'all then. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe to the Frontline Black News on YouTube and Facebook. And also check out the Revolutionary Agenda, Lady Chase show.
We'll be on tonight in about 2 hours? Yeah.
Maybe more like 4 hours.
Yeah, so we got to do our podcast here now. We got to catch up our in-depth information. Also, note, we are taking donations for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
So you can donate to the Cash App that you see scrolling on the bottom of your screen.
Or mine too on
Seduction Dog 13.
Whatever you can. If you can donate $10, that'd be great. All we need is a few people just to do it, so that'd be great. Either way, we got this show handled. It will be taken care of here shortly. We just we just need a little help. But if you can't. No worries. Everything's all too good. Thank you, and join us for the RBA. Join us on Tuesday for
Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Shout out to Brother Shabakas and Corey. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Frontline Black News. Sorry about yesterday. Technical difficulties, but we're getting it handled, and we'll see you next Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Peace, love, light, and Black empowerment.
Thank you.